Hello. So today we are starting 5.5. And we are going to talk about standard form. Standard form of a line equation. We use this form to find x and y intercepts. Sometimes I refer to this form as the cover-up method. And when we find our intercepts, well, actually, let me say it this way. Our standard form looks like this. We have ax plus by equals c. Okay? Now, there's a couple special things about this one. When we're writing it in this form, if we ever have to move it into this form, one, there are no fractions. And the second thing I always want to see if you're writing it in this form is that the a is positive. You want our equation to start off positive. All right? Now, we use this to find intercepts, and I call it the cover-up method for this reason. Let me show you what I mean. If I have an equation, that's not a 3. Whoops. Try that again. 3x minus 6y equals 12. Okay, that's in standard form, right? There's no fractions. I have ax plus by equals c. It's in that form, and my first term's positive. Okay? To find my intercepts, which means if I want to find the x-intercept is where our line crosses the x-axis, right? Which means that I'm actually putting 0 in for y. Because if it crosses the x-axis, there's a 0 in where y is. So what happens is because I have 0 in for y, I can cover this term up because if I put 0 in, it'd drop out, right? So look what I have left. I have 3x equals 12. If I cover that up, I get 3x equals 12. Can I solve for x? By doing what? Divide by 3 and we get x equals 4. So we actually have an intercept, or our line is going to cross at 4, 0. If I want the y-intercept, that means I'm putting 0 in for x. And again, I can cover up this term, and I'm left with negative 6y equals 12. If I solve that, tell me what y equals. Negative 2, I agree. So then, to graph it from this form, I just have to plot those 2 points and connect the dots. So I would plot 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, and 0, negative 2, and connect them. That's the whole reason behind standard form. To be able to find those intercepts and where it crosses your x and y axis. Okay? So, now that we got a general idea, let's start with some examples. All right, here's example number 1. This is going to cover questions 1 through 6 on your worksheet. 20. There's a reason it's 20. All right. Correct. Find the x and y intercepts. So let's start off with something as easy as 2x plus y equals 8. So my x-intercept means I put 0 in for y, right? I'm going to cover up my y term. Pretend that cover up, use your finger, cover it up, whatever. And we get 2x equals 8. What does x equal? 4. Perfect. That's our first answer. 4, 0. Then I want the y-intercept, so I put 0 in for x. If I put 0 in for x, I cover the 2x up. I get y equals 8. So that would be my answer for the first one, 4008. 2 points where my line crosses the x and y axis. Not yet. You'd plot those 2 points and connect the dots if we had to, but we're not there yet. All right, let's do one more just like this. Show you. All right, one more. How about something like this? Let's say I have 4, maybe a 4. How about 4x minus 5y equals 8. All right. So, again, my first point, I'm going to put 0 in for y, which means I'm covering this up. I get 4x equals 8. X equals what? 2. There's my first answer. Second answer, I put 0 in for x. So I cover this one up. I have negative 5y equals 8. 8 over negative 5, and that's how I want you to leave it. No. In the equation, there's no fractions. Okay? Your intercept can be a fraction because you're plotting the point. No, you'd have to clear the fraction, and we'll get there. Okay? We'll get there. You guys are so impatient. All right. So any questions on the first 6? The next 3 are actually even easier. Example number 2. This covers questions 7 through 9. Plot the x and y intercepts. And your problem's going to look like this. X-intercept is at 3, 0. Y-intercept is at 0, negative 1. So we're going to plot these and connect the dots. I'm going to draw my graph. The first point I have is 3, 0. So that's on the x-axis at 3. I'm going to put a dot. The second one is 0, negative 1, which means it's on the y-axis at negative 1. And what do you think we're going to do with those 2 dots? Connect them, absolutely. Yep. Okay. Questions so far? Gentlemen? Thank you. All right, example number 3. Now sandwiches example 1 and 2 together. Okay? So this is 10 and 11. I'm going to ask you to graph, which means if you're graphing from standard form, I want you to find the intercepts and plot them. We're doing example 1 and example 2 together. Okay? So if I say graph, I'm even going to say using x and y intercepts. All right, and here's your equation. Let's go with 4x plus 2y equals 12. So let's do our x-intercept first. If I put 0 in for y, what does x equal? 3. Perfect. If I put 0 in for x to get my y-intercept, what does y equal? Awesome. All right, now we're just going to plot these and connect the dots. First one at 3, 0 on the x-axis. That's my x-intercept. The second one is my y-intercept at 0, 6. Connect the dots. That's it. So are we doing all right? Everybody's good? Okay. So we're going to kind of switch. Yeah, just for a second, okay? Just for a second. I want to talk about vertical and horizontal lines, okay? If I have a horizontal line, all right? So here's my coordinate plane, and I have a line going like this, right? What is the only axis that line crosses through? Y, exactly. So any horizontal line is just going to be y equals whatever number it's crossing through, okay? If I have a vertical line, what is the only axis that vertical line crosses through? Yes, so this one's going to be x equals whatever number it crosses through. Yeah, so if I have x equals 3, that's just a vertical line through 3. Okay? All right, so here is example number 4. For each equation, state if the line is vertical or horizontal. Y equals 7. Horizontal, you just have to put an H. X equals -2. Put a V. How about x equals 1? Okay? That's literally all you're doing through 12 through 14. Okay, we're still good? Example number 5. This is going to be 15 through 17. Graph. X equals, whoops, x equals 2. Right, so what kind of line is this going to be, Jess? A vertical line. So when I graph it, I go on the x-axis to 2, and I have to have a vertical line that goes through 2. That's it. What if I had y equals -4? That's a horizontal line through -4. So we go -4 on the y-axis. You have to draw a horizontal line through -4. I'm kind of sloppy here, but they shouldn't, but okay. So do we have any question on those? Probably because you're going to be rushing through it, right? All right, so here's the last thing I need to talk about. Is just like yesterday where we had to change point slope into slope intercept, we have to be able to change slope intercept into standard, okay? So converting slope intercept to standard. We're going to do 3 steps. Step number 1, clear the fraction. Step number 2, move the x term to the left. And then step 3, make positive if needed. And to make it positive, you would multiply the whole thing by a -1 if we need to. Okay? So for example, what example am I on? 6? Yeah, example 6. Right. In standard form. And let's go with y equals, how about, let's start with negative 1 over 3x plus 2. Yeah. 18 through 20, yes. Clear the fraction. How do I do that, Jess? Times everything by what? 3. Yep, that's the common denominator, so we're going to times everything by 3. All right, so we get 3y equals, here my 3's cancel, so I get negative 1x plus 6. Now we move the x term to the left. How do I move negative 1x? Add it. So I'm going to add 1x to both sides. Can I combine my x and my y together? No, they're not like terms, are they? So we're left with 1x plus 3y equals 6. Last step, is my first term positive? And I'm done. From here, I'd be able to find the intercepts if I wanted to graph it that way, right? Okay, so let's do one more. That's 18 through 20. That's the end of your worksheet. I want to just do one more. Okay, how about this one? Say I have y equals 2 over 5x minus what? 10. All right, minus 10 it is. Okay, so what's the first thing we do? Clear the fraction by multiplying by 5, right? So we're going to times every single thing by 5. 5 times y is 5y. The second one, the 5's cancel, and I'm left with 2x. And 5 times negative 10? Good. All right, step 2 is to move that x term to the other side. How do I do that? Subtract 2x. And again, I can't combine those together, so I am left with negative 2x plus 5y equals negative 50. Yes, since the leading term is negative, we want it to be positive. We're just going to times it all by a negative 1. Positive 2x minus 5y, I agree. Correct. So technically, both of these equations are exactly the same, right? You're just changing all the signs, yeah. That's kind of what it comes down to. Okay, so I have one quick question before I hand you your worksheet. What if you were given an equation in point slope form and you want to write it in standard? What do you think you would have to do first? If I gave it to you in something that looked like this, y minus 2 equals 1/3 times x minus 6. What do you think you would have to do first? Jesse, what do you think? Correct. First we would distribute. And then with the answer you get from there, if you still have a fraction, you multiply the bottom. What I would recommend is if it's in point slope, you want to change it to slope intercept, which that's what we did yesterday. Intercept. And once it's in slope intercept, then you can change it into standard. Okay? Everybody good? All right. There's one. Yeah. I want to see how it goes. There's only one hard one. I agree. All right, let me get you guys